very happy to be here with you to discuss on how to make effective verbal communication. So friends, we are talking about certain tips. In the first half, we discussed about a few tips. I will resume the same topic now again, and I shall be talking about the remaining tips, and at the end of the talk, I am going to take up a small case to help you understand that how does the effective communication makes a difference at a workplace, right? So beginning with the first point or the first tip in this second half, I would like to say that we should be ready to disagree. As they say, agree to disagree. So you should have the guts to listen to disagreements. It's not necessary that everybody whomsoever you are communicating to, they should always agree with what you say. No, it's not necessary. I've seen not only at workplace, parents do not take it when their kids or their children disagree to what they say. Parents should understand that their children are growing up. They have their own way of thinking. They have their own life. They have their own surroundings, and they have their own way to comprehend things, right? So they may have a different perspective to a particular thing or aspect than you have, right? So parents are the most important factor in family, where I see they are very they are not ready to disagree, or even for times even teenager kids, even kids I've seen are actually in disagreement all the time. They do not agree to disagree. But at a workplace, because we are referring to business communication, even at workplace, it's not necessary that you would have agreement on all the aspects you speak or you put across to anybody, right? The person who is recipient in the communication has all the right to disagree with what you say, provided he or she is logical, is objective. So there are times when we know people disagree to the other person simply because they do not like the person. There is no objectiveness in such disagreements, which is not acceptable, which is not good. But in general, if we have a tendency to acknowledge that, okay, I disagree, but it's fine, you have your point, okay, well said, well done, and fine. I have a different opinion, but I respect your opinion. That is the best way. That is the best, way to make the communication effective, because this gives a positive vibe to the person whom you are speaking with. You are agreeing to disagree. This also plays a very important role in personal relationship, in friends. If you are talking to your friends, with your spouses, it makes a difference. Then the next point I would like to make is that we should be very sure of not holding our breath when we are talking. There are people, especially because I'm talking about the verbal communication, they keep on holding their breath as it's difficult for them to say something, right? So do not ever hold your breath when you are talking to somebody. So this is another tip. Another very important tip is that we should listen before we speak. So people are not actually very used to listening others, and in the total communication process, in the effective communication process, listening is actually more important than speaking. That yes, I'm very right when I'm saying so. Listening is very important than speaking. Unfortunately, in many business communication classes or sessions, people pay attention only on the speaking part, the spoken English, spoken language, spoken communication. They hardly discuss about that how can one be good listener. I will be covering this topic separately in one of the future sessions. So listening is very, very important. So we must be paying attention to the person who is speaking to you before we respond. And if we have listened carefully, that is the crux of, in making the communication effective. We would get the perspective of the other person completely, and thereafter you would have all the right to disagree or put across your point or challenge the person even. That is not the concern. You have all those rights. So important is that you should be doing that after you have understood the point of view of the person who is speaking to you. Okay, so listen before you speak, and especially when you are speaking, when you are making a public communication, you should be certainly paying attention to the questions which are being asked during the conversation, right? So though I have made a separate point, if you look at the second last point, it says ask open question, but ask open question is separate. You may not invite open question. Before that, suddenly there is a question. You are making a point in a meeting. It's a board meeting going on. Somebody just made a point. Before you open the floor for the question, somebody just questioned you or tried or asked you to explain again, right? So be careful about that. You should be listening carefully during the conversation you are making with someone. Next is that we should take time out when you are stressed. People, especially when making presentations to seniors in a business communication, in a business in fact, people making public appearance, people making any talk to a mass, public speaking in fact, or even a small presentation where 2-3 people are there. You are just new to the organization, you started working this week only, and this is the first time you are presenting on a particular concept, or you are talking about your project you are handling or you have been given to. So if you think you are stressed, takes few seconds out of the conversation. Just take a deep breath, take time out, right, when you think you are stressed, and just relax. Just think it's fine, I'm just talking to people who are human beings. You are talking to human beings who are equally qualified or who are not superhuman beings, who are very much like you only, and just take some time out to think about what you were supposed to talk or discuss. So when you are stressed, just take a break for a few seconds. It helps, right? If you do not take a break and you are trying to speak what were you speaking, actually you are going to mess up. So the things are going to mess up. Your message is not going to be communicated clearly, loudly or impressively if you continue to speak even if you are stressed out, right? The next point, as I said, I mentioned earlier as well, that ask open question. If you were presenting in a meeting at any business, it's a working meeting, and after you paused, after you stopped presenting, invite questions. Do you have any query? Do you have any suggestion? Do you have any recommendation? Invite questions. That makes the communication effective. You would be very hopeful or confident that yes, I made a very effective communication, I made a very effective presentation, I made all the points so clear, I used such a heavy data, I used data points from X report, Y report, I referred to this company's report, that company's report, and then I present it. Oh God, no. Maybe you refer to the report, you read about that, you used the terminology which was there in the report, and you read about it before you presented, so you were clear about it. But damn it, there are people, 20 people, 30 people attending the meeting, and 50% of them have never heard the term you are using, right? So what will happen? Certainly they will not understand your point of view, whatever you presented. So you can be sure of transmitting the idea, the concept in your mind by inviting questions. Basically, we are seeking feedback. Inviting question is a way of feedback. So it's more effective communication when we seek open questions in the meeting or in a mass gathering. In our university or colleges, we keep on inviting speakers, especially from industry. They come, they talk about few things, and I have seen majority of them make a point to stop after some time and encourage students to ask questions. That's a very effective way of making the communication effective, right? So by inviting questions, you are giving them respect, you are giving them chance to clarify the doubt. You would be able to build on the conversation based on the question you have. That will give you actually food for thinking, food for the further conversation you are going to make with them. Okay, so asking open question is a very effective way of seeking feedback about the communication you made so far. Then the last point here is that we should give an impression that you are enthusiastic about talking to them. When we are making a public appearance or we are talking in a meeting, we should not be sounding that I am here because just I have to be here, right? I should be sounding that I am very, very happy to connect with you. I am very, very enthusiastic to talk to you this morning, this afternoon, or in this meeting, or on this topic. This topic is very close to my heart. People will start with this. I'm so delighted to talk on this topic, which is so close to my heart. It's not necessary that topic is actually close to their heart, but they are trying to create an impression that they like the topic they are talking about. They're going to present, right? And that actually attracts interests of the audience, that attracts attention, that attracts that make the people interested in your conversation. Simple like that, right? So friends, these were the tips about how to make the communication effective. I hope you could get the idea behind and you would like to adopt few of them, if not all of them, in your conversation in future. Now, as I promised you that we would be learning with the help of a case, I am going to put across a small caselet. Yes, in business communication, a caselet. This is possible and this is actually true. This really helps to comprehend things better. So, I am going to put across a case. We will just discuss it while I am reading it for you. Have a look at the slide. This is a caselet on business communication. The case says Joe Smith, recently promoted telecommunication manager, who is responsible for implementing new telephone, voicemail and email system in a large organization which has recently gone through a merger, right? So who is Joe Smith? It's a manager into telecommunication sector, into telecommunication vertical, and he is responsible for what? For implementing new telephone system across the organization, voicemail system, email system, in a very large organization which has just merged with some other organization, right? So the merger has taken place. Two businesses came together and merged with each other. Now the Joe is not having a good time. He has received several messages from senior management who are unhappy with the new voicemail system. I hope the slide is visible to you. He knows there were 700 complaints about the system in its first week, right? So Joe is not having a good time. Why? If you read it carefully, it says he has received several messages from senior management who are unhappy with the new voicemail system. So Joe has established the new voicemail system, new email system, but he is getting the communication from the senior management who are unhappy, right? Other than the communication from the senior management, this poor guy Joe has received 700 complaints about the system in the first week itself. Wow, what a pity situation, right? So he has received 700 complaints about the voicemail system or email system or telephone system, which is not a small number. Mind you, this is one organization we are talking about, right? He works in one business in one company only, though it is a large company as it says. Now, he knows that fewer than half the employees, they turned up for training sessions. So he actually called upon a training session. But in that training session, fewer than half, not even the half of the people for whom this training was organized, they didn't turn up. So let's say if the training was for 10,000 people, only 5,000 or less than that turned up. So that's one point. And he knows that some units within the organizations have purchased answering machines and cancelled their voicemail service. So there are few verticals in the business and in the company who just have to purchase answering machine because they were so much fed up with the voicemail services. So they purchased answering machines, right? You can understand that the level of the difficulty he is having here. So Joe is also worried because he knows that the organization will have to switch to a new email system in the very near future. What does it say? It says he is also worried. Why? Because he knows that the organization is going to switch to the new email system in a very near future, or the computer network will not be able to cope up with the traffic. The moment he will launch this new email system, the network they have, the computer network they have in the company, it will not support the traffic of the emails. What does it mean? It means it is going to worsen the things for him. There are going to be more complaints of heavy traffic, of slow speed and whatnot, right? So this is going to worsen the things for him. Now, what makes it even more frustrating for Joe is this, that he cannot see where he has gone wrong. So, poor boy, poor guy Joe, he's not able to think or find out where did he go wrong, right? From the technical point of view, the changeover went very smoothly. This change of having a new voicemail, telephone system, answering machine, as per his knowledge and understanding, there was no problem when it comes to technically. So technically, the whole changeover, this whole adoption of new process was smooth, and the system can achieve everything which the organization want, but only if people use it properly. Yes, the last sentence says, but only if people use it properly. I'm repeating the sentence. You must be thinking, ma'am just said few minutes ago, unnecessary repetition. Just think about it. Was it necessary or was it unnecessary? It was necessary because I was trying to emphasize upon this last sentence, but only if people use it properly. This whole case is very, very interesting, right? There's a guy, Joe. He's working in a telecommunication company which had just recently merged into a big other business, and because of that, the size of the business has gone up significantly, and people whom he wanted to train to understand the whole system, they did not turn up for the training. This is a point. He would have explained them that how does the system work. People stopped working, using the system without attending the training, without trying to explore how the system should be used, right? And then this poor guy is being blamed he's been given so many complaints and he's just frustrated out of the situation. So friends, this case is a very simple one when it comes to a business situation. It happens very often, but it's very, very interesting and meaningful, right? Whatever the tip, the tips we have discussed in communication so far, this poor guy Joe could not train people because they did not turn up. It means in his communication, whichever way he communicated about the training session, he did not actually brought out the importance of the training. Had it been so carefully communicated, orally, verbally or in written, whichever way he has adopted, this case doesn't talk about that. Had this been communicated effectively, that this training is of utmost importance, so then certainly the attendance, the people who attended the training session would have been far higher. Then, because this case says it is less than 50%, right? So if the people did not turn up for the training, how do we expect them to learn how to use the system when the system was new? So at the first hand, the problem was in the message which was communicated about the training. The second problem, it seems, in the case was the problem that those people who attended the training, he should have leveraged those people by ensuring that they carry the message to their offices, to their departments. They speak the message, or they communicate, or they share the details of the training with the rest of the people who did not turn up. Maybe even that has been missed. Purpose should have been to share the message of how to use the new system with as many people as possible. Then another likelihood could be, because cases are always to think about the possibilities and alternate. Case doesn't talk that whether there were questions after the training session or not, whether Joe invited questions after the training session. It means seeking feedback. Few minutes ago I was talking about we should invite questions, open questions. So we don't know whether Joe actually followed this tip or not. He may have trained about 40-50% of the people, but maybe he didn't give them chance to question, to clarify the doubt, right? This is a likelihood, because this is just a caselet and we are discussing all the possible scenarios, right? So maybe Joe did not allow others to raise questions, to clarify their doubt, and hence people were not very clear on whatever has been communicated, and they could not use the system, and that's why there are 700 complaints. Because case clearly speaks that as far as the technical point is concerned, everything was installed effectively. It was smooth. It means the problem is in the communication about how the system works. If it was verbal if it was a verbal communication about the training, during the training how this message was communicated, that how to use the machine, we don't know, the case is silent about it. That is one area of concern and could be problematic situation. Maybe the training was not that bad, but nobody was given a chance to raise questions. Even that is true. And another likelihood could be the trainer, the Joe here, the person who is a technical person, maybe he was not so good in the communication. He could not make his point during the training. That is also one of the possibilities, right? So friends, purpose of bringing out this case after covering so many sessions in business, so I have covered about 4-5 sessions in the past, where we talked about what business is, business communication is, what are the types of business communication, or what are the barriers to business communication. And today when I spoke about or discussed about tips to effective verbal communication, and after that when I brought this case, now you can put 2 plus 2 together and can make some sense from this case. This was thrown to you to just help you think about it, because this case was carefully chosen to help you understand there could be many possibilities when how the training would have gone wrong, and that why this system which was installed did not work, right? So friends, I hope I made some sense to you. Those tips which we discussed today are going to help you a long way if you really pay attention to them. And I would like to thank you all for your time and attention. Thank you.